Hello everyone, this is Heather Morse, and this is a digital copy of my presentation that I did at the West Georgia RESA Instructional Technology Conference in September 2014. I know the PowerPoint is kind of incomplete, so I'm just going to kind of talk through it. Obviously my presentation was an hour, but I'm going to try my best to keep this under 15 minutes hopefully. I am a middle school teacher at Mountain Zion Middle School in Carroll County, and I am not a digital person. I still love my paper and my pencil and my paper books and all of that kind of stuff. I still take notes by hand and all of that. But I know that the students that we teach nowadays are digital learners, and because of that, I love technology in my classroom. This is a quick video that kind of shows my classroom in action. I'm not going to play it right now. You can just go straight to the PowerPoint if you want to see that video. Okay, right now, in fact, to do this audio presentation, I am actually using a program called Doceri. Doceri is pretty cool because it allows you to remote control your desktop or your laptop from an iPad. It's great if you don't have an interactive whiteboard because it has those whiteboard features to it that will just display directly on the screen. Also, as opposed to a regular slate, it allows you to see on the iPad the same thing that's on your desktop, so you're not having to look up while you're writing. There is a fee for Doceri. It's like a monthly fee of about a yearly fee of about $30. But if you don't have a whiteboard, it's a great thing. If you have a whiteboard, unless you're wanting to do screencasting or just be able to have that access to move around your room, it's probably not the best thing in the world. Okay, basics. If you're going to go paperless, you've got to have Wi-Fi, and it has to be enough to support all the devices. I know when our school implemented a 1-to-1 iPad ratio, we had to add like 10 new wireless ports in our school just to be able to support all the devices. The next thing is the devices. I am fortunate. I am in a school that has a 1-to-1 iPad student ratio. I don't think that I could be completely paperless without everyone in my class having the same device to be able to work on. And then having apps that you want to use, and then your management system. And with our management system, we use on a universal level a program called Meraki. And it's a web-based program, but what it allows you to do is to control basically all your student iPads under one management system. When we want to install an app, we go to Meraki, we install that app on Meraki, and then it automatically just pushes it to all of our iPads, so we don't necessarily have to go to each one and install and everything. And then it pops up on the student iPads, Meraki would like to download blah 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 app, okay, or cancel. And then teachers can choose which apps particularly they would like to put on their iPads, on their set of student iPads, and if they ever change their mind, they are still sitting in the cloud. On a classroom level, I use a number system. And this is a example of what my iPads look like. I have them in these little buckets. They're actually locker totes that are supposed to fit in a locker. They're made by like Sterilite, I believe. But they're perfect because the iPads stand up in there, and then I have these number tabs in, and then my students were assigned a number so that every day they use the same iPad, so that if something happens, I can also track what has happened and who's been the one on that iPad. Okay, so you got everything you need. What now? Okay, just how I started. I really started by making myself paperless, meaning all of our students had Google Drive accounts that were issued to them by the county. So what I did was I just uploaded a worksheet or the frameworks task or whatever to Google Drive. The students opened it up in Google Drive, but then they still had to write their work out on pencil and paper, and then they turned that paper into me. That's all I knew how to do. That's the best I could do, and at least I was saving a few trees. What I do now. I use two apps pretty extensively. One of those is either Google Drive or Edmodo. Last year I used Google Drive, which is a pain because you have to upload and share and save and all this kind of stuff. Edmodo has simplified that for me, and I know from the conference there were lots of people that were already Edmodo fans. And then the other thing is an annotation app. And an annotation app simply allows you to handwrite on top of a PDF document or a Word document or a picture or whatever else. Down here, a little side note about Google Classroom and Edmodo. If you're going to be using a lot of the Google applications, the Pages, the Docs, the spreadsheets, and stuff like that, it's worth having the Google Classroom. But I have to go outside of Google for the math class for them to be able to annotate. So Classroom is not really the best option for me. Edmodo works better. But we have a language arts teacher in our school that is using Google Classroom and loves it. Okay, so here is an example of my Edmodo page, and I give the students the standard. I tell them what they're going to do, and this particular group actually had to get on, watch a video on scientific notation, how to multiply and divide, and then there's a little picture down here of an assignment that they have, and so they're going to click on that assignment and they're going to open it up. And I'm flipping back and forth between the annotation mode and the regular PowerPoint. That's why you keep seeing going in and out. So when they open up the assignment, this is it. It's just a worksheet, and there's a little button right here. It's kind of hard to see. It's like a little box with an up arrow. When you click on that, it gives you a bunch of options. The one that we use is this option that says Open in Another App. And when the students do this, then it pops up with some more windows, and it's all the different apps that they can open it in. And the particular annotation app that we use is called GoodNotes. GoodNotes. GoodNotes used to be a free app, and we have the free version on our iPads. I think it's like $5 now. I just perused just a little bit, and I found a couple of other ones that you could use. One is called Docs. I think it's with an S, AS Lite. And then the other one is called Notes, and it's got like some kind of crazy name, Mojo something Notes, but both of those were also free, and I was able to open them, import a document, and export just like I'm going to do in GoodNotes. It's just kind of a matter of which one you like better and which one that you're going to be using in your classroom. Okay, so when you open it up in GoodNotes, this is what it looks like. If you see across the top, you have all kinds of options of things you can do. You have the pen, you have the highlighter, you have the eraser. The little lasso thing lets you copy something that you've written and move it around. You've got a shape creator. This one allows you to add more pages. This one allows you to kind of organize and sort your pages if you've added extra pages and things like that. So again, just like I'm doing right now, my students just write all over. They zoom in, they work out this problem, and they just put their answer down here and they keep going. Here's an example of actually the one that the student that I showed y'all that assignment just a minute ago. This is her work, and you can see she has worked out the problems and has marked off, circled the answer, pretty much almost like you would do if you were using paper and pencil. Then when they get done with it, and I had to go back to mine, not that student's, they click on the three little horizontal dots over there on the right-hand side, and they're given a bunch of options. The one that we use is the export/print. And then it pops up another screen, and we always click Export All Pages, just simply because when you do all the pages, if you happen to add an extra page or whatever, it gets it. And then it pops up with a bunch of options. If you're using Google Drive, you might be tempted to just click Google Drive here. I have found that it really just creates a bunch of havoc. The easiest way to do it is actually to just select the external apps, because you're taking it out of GoodNotes and you're putting it in a different program. When you do that, it comes up with a screen like this. This is where they can rename it. Most of the time my students just leave it what it is, and they just click OK. Next, again, it opens up a bunch of choices for external apps. My students are going to put it back in Edmodo because that's what we use. You can see over here, kind of like poking off on the right. Sorry, let me go back. Well, not going back, am I? If you'll see over here, Sorry about that. If you'll see right here, you can actually see there's the Google Drive application right there. So if you were going to use Google Drive, you would just click on Google Drive. Now again, all of these are apps that are already installed on their iPads, but my students use Edmodo. Then it pops them back into Edmodo, and they're given the choice to attach it to a note, an assignment, or the library. If they attach it to the note, that's like just posting it, and they could post it just directly to me or something else. But we attach it to the assignment. If they attach it to their library, I don't have access to it, no one else does. It's just sitting there for them for future use. And then it would pop up right here, and it would list out any assignments that are available for them to attach it to, and they would pick the one that they want to attach it to. On the teacher's end, I can go on that specific assignment, and I can see all my students that have turned it in, and it tells me that they've turned it in. I can click on their names, I can open it up just like I did that students a minute ago, and I can see it, and I can actually put their grade in. And there's where I've clicked on a student. This one down here is actually her copy of hers, and then I can put her grade, and I can leave a comment down there. Okay, other apps and programs I use, Socrative or Socrative, however you choose to pronounce it. Nearpod, Wildy Math, which is a great one if you teach middle school math. It has a lot of the different kinds of skills that are used. Educreation, we just use it a lot for the virtual whiteboard to practice problems. Kahoot and YouTube, and also we use as our test prep practice, we have USA Test Prep, so that's another one that my students use a lot. That's just the basics. That's really just taking it from paper and pencil and putting it on the iPads, and that really in itself revolutionized my class. Students that didn't want to do anything before were more than willing and happy to do the work now. Since then, I have created a website. It's actually a requirement that I had for college, and created a web quest and engaged learning projects, and extending that to students creating presentations and creating some cool work products. And eventually, my students are actually completing a project right now. Some of those samples are actually going to be on the Weebly site. Just a little bit of advice. Don't be tempted to do everything at one time. If you're not using a lot of technology right now, start small. Figure out what you really want to do, or if there's an app or a program or even Edmodo, or doing the whole paperless thing. Start off and do it, because every step along the way has a learning curve to it. Students have to learn how to log into Edmodo, where to find things in there. There's, as you can see, multiple steps for taking it out of Edmodo and putting it in the annotation app, and getting it from the annotation app back into Edmodo or to Google Drive. So there's this process all along the way that you've got to learn. And if you start too fast, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to want to throw the technology out the window and just go back to the old, say, paper and pencil. Find what technology you have right now. How can you use it? And then add to it. If you don't have a class set of iPads or a class set of tablets, you might not be able to go paperless. But what can you do? Is there a way that you can do tests digitally through the Google Forms, or through Socrative, or through the USA Test Prep, or whatever like that? Even Edmodo has a lot of places that you can go, and students can access even like Edmodo on their phones. So find what you can do now and go from there. And again, don't be afraid to ask questions. There are lots of people around. That's how I learn most everything, is by asking questions. On Google is my best friend. Google has lots of answers, and I go there lots of times, or I find my instructional technology person within my county and get their help as well. Lastly, again, my name is Heather Morse, and here is my email address. If you have any questions about what in the world I did and need some clarification, I know that I probably talked fast through this, but I knew that my PowerPoint by itself probably wouldn't make much sense, so I just wanted to add a little talking to it that hopefully would make it a little bit more clear. But again, paperless has helped me. It's helped my students. I don't lug a bunch of papers at home around. Anywhere I have Wi-Fi, I can sit and grade papers on Edmodo. And I didn't show this, but just like the students were able to export and annotate, if my students take a test or a quiz or something that I want to write on, I can export it right to GoodNotes. I write on top of it, and then I put it back into GoodNote to Edmodo. and I attach it as a note, and it goes directly to that single child so that they can see and they can get that feedback from me as well. And then that's documented. I can go back and I can access my note to them. I can access their original document, and it's there always for parent documentation, for IEP meetings, for anything like that. So again, thank you for listening, and I hope this helps.